AWS Resource to Protect. Application Load Balancer. Description: Load balancing for HTTP and HTTPS traffic. Prerequisites: Create an application load balancer. Configure listeners and target groups. Associate instances or containers with target groups. Use cases: distribute traffic across multiple instances. Provide high availability for web applications. Steps: create an application load balancer. Configure listeners and target groups. Associate instances or containers with target groups. Load balancer is not distributing traffic evenly. Check the health of the instances in the target group. Ensure that the target group is configured correctly. Verify the load balancer configuration. Check if the load balancer is configured with a sticky session policy, which might be causing uneven traffic distribution. If you have a custom health check, ensure that it is configured correctly in responding to requests. Check if the target group is experiencing a high error rate, which might trigger a health check failure and lead to uneven distribution. Consider enabling cross-zone load balancing for better traffic distribution across availability zones. Load balancer is experiencing high latency. Check the health of the instances in the target group. Ensure that the target group is configured correctly. Verify the load balancer configuration. Optimize the instances in the target group for performance. Consider using a faster network connection for the load balancer. Reduce the load on the load balancer by adding more instances to the target group or by implementing a caching layer. Check if the load balancer is configured with a large enough timeout value. Load balancer is not responding to requests. Check the health of the instances in the target group. Ensure that the target group is configured correctly. Verify the load balancer configuration. Check if the load balancer is in an error state or if it has been deleted accidentally. Verify that the load balancer has enough capacity to handle the current traffic load. Check if the security group rules are configured correctly, allowing traffic to reach the load balancer. Check if the load balancer has been updated with the correct DNS records. Check if the load balancer is experiencing a DDoS attack. Ensure that the load balancer is reachable by the client's network. CloudFront distribution. Description: Content Delivery Network (CDN) for serving static and dynamic content. Prerequisites: create a CloudFront distribution. Configure origins and behaviors. Enable caching. Use cases. Serve content from multiple locations. Reduce latency and improve performance. Steps: create a CloudFront distribution. Configure origins and behaviors. Enable caching. Content is not being cached. Verify the caching settings. Ensure that the origin is configured correctly. Ensure that the content is eligible for caching. Check if the CloudFront distribution is set to use the origin's cache control headers. Check if there are any issues with the origin server that are preventing caching. Check if the cache is full or if there are any cache eviction policies that are affecting caching. Behavior. Content is not being served from the edge locations. Verify the distribution configuration. Ensure that the origin is configured correctly. Check if the distribution is in a deployed state. Check if the origin is responding correctly to CloudFront requests. Check if the CloudFront distribution is properly configured to serve content from edge locations. Verify that the content's URL is correctly formatted and that the CloudFront distribution is configured to handle it. CloudFront is experiencing high latency. Check the health of the origin servers. Optimize the content for faster delivery. Consider using a different edge location. Minimize the number of redirects in your content delivery chain. Optimize the content for faster delivery, such as using gzip compression or optimizing image sizes. Use a CDN that offers features like origin shielding, which can help to reduce latency by preventing client requests from directly hitting the origin server. Ensure that the CloudFront distribution is configured to use the correct cache settings for the content being delivered. API Gateway. Description. API Gateway for managing and securing access to APIs. Prerequisites. Create an API Gateway endpoint. Configure API resources and methods. Define request and response models. Use cases. Provide a single point of access for APIs. Secure APIs with authorization and authentication. Steps. Create an API Gateway endpoint. Configure API resources and methods. Define request and response models. API is not responding to requests. Check the health of the backend resources. Ensure that the API is configured correctly. Ensure that the API Gateway endpoint is properly configured and accessible. Check if the API Gateway endpoint is throttled or experiencing rate limiting. Check if the API Gateway endpoint is properly mapped to the backend resources. Ensure that the API Gateway endpoint is configured with the correct ING policies and permissions. API is experiencing high latency. Check the health of the backend resources. Optimize the API for performance. Check if the API Gateway endpoint is experiencing high traffic volume. Check if the backend resources are properly configured and optimized for performance. Ensure that the API Gateway endpoint is configured with the correct caching settings. API is not secure. Configure authorization and authentication. Use security best practices. Use API Gateway's built-in security features, such as ING authorization, Lambda authorizers, and API keys. Use security best practices when designing and implementing the API, such as using HTTPS for all communication, validating input data, and implementing rate limiting. Use security best practices when deploying the API, such as using a secure deployment environment and monitoring for vulnerabilities. Use API Gateway's built-in features for logging and monitoring, which can help you identify and address security issues. Consider using a WAF web application firewall to protect your API from attacks. Use security best practices when configuring the API Gateway endpoint, such as using a secure endpoint address and setting appropriate permissions. Implement security monitoring and alerting to detect and respond to security incidents. Regularly review and update security policies and procedures.